This video is about decimal rules, and so addition and subtraction are pretty similar. I'm going to cover those together, and then I'm going to talk to you about multiplication and division. So when I add and subtract decimal numbers, most of the time they are presented like this: 32.4, 32 and 4/10, plus 1.26, or 1 and 2600ths. Now the rule about adding and subtracting decimals is that this decimal point needs to be lined up. So I tell my students to write the decimal points in first, and then build your number around it. So this one is 32, and then I need 4 on the other side of the decimal point. This number is 1, and I need 26 on the other side of the decimal point. Now I'm going to add. I could put a 0 here so that my numbers all line up. So I add 0 plus 6 is 6, 4 plus 2 is 6. I bring down my decimal point. They always stay lined up in addition and subtraction. 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 plus nothing is 3. So I have 33 and 6600ths. Now when I'm subtracting, I do the same thing. So I might have something that looks like this: 18.5, or 18 and 5/10, minus 3.25, or 3 and 2500ths. Now, again, I'm going to line everything up with a decimal point. So I'm going to write 18 on this side of the decimal point and 5 on this side. I'm going to put 3 on this side of the decimal point and 25 on this side. Now, lining up these decimals means that I have nothing to subtract from here, so I need to place a 0. Because this is very important, I need to borrow. So I'm going to regroup. I'm going to change this to a 10 and change this to a 4. Now I can subtract. 10 take away 5 is 5. 4 take away 2 is 2. I bring down my decimal point, very important for that to stay lined up. 8 take away 3 is 5. And I have 1 take away nothing is 1. So I have 15 and 2500ths. I have a video about naming decimal points also, so if you want to check that one out. Now we'll talk about multiplication and division. So first, multiplication. So when we multiply decimals, the idea is that we no longer line up the decimal point, we line up the digits on the right. So let's say that I have 1.25 times 2.6. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite my problem, and I don't care about the decimals right now. I'm just going to make sure that everything lines up on the right. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 3 more is 15. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I'm done with the 6. I'm going to now multiply by the 2. 2 times 5 is 10, carry a 1. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Now I add these together: 0, 5, 12, and 3. Now I count my decimal places: 1, 2, 3. I count over to the decimals in both of these numbers, and I count down here: 1, 2, 3. So my answer is 3 and 2500ths, or 3 and 250 thousandths. So my answer always has to match how many decimal places I have up in the problem. So division is a little bit different. So sometimes whenever I have division, they write it horizontally, and so I'm going to do that first. So let's say that I have 1 and 4400ths, and I'm going to divide by 1200ths. Okay, so sometimes the problem will be presented this way, and then I'm going to show you how to write it with a division box. So I have 0.12, or 1200ths, divided into 1 and 4400ths. Okay, so the rule for division, you need to make this a whole number. So I'm going to move over 2 spaces to make this 12. I do that over there, I must do that to my dividend also. I'm going to move that over here, 2 spaces, and then I bump it straight up. So I bump up that decimal point. Now I can divide. 12 goes into 14 one time. I'm going to subtract 12 and I get 2. I'm going to bring down my 4. 12 goes into 24 2 times. 2 times 12 is 24. I have no remainder. So my answer is actually 12. Now this decimal point is very important because 12 is a lot different than if I would have left it over here and said 12 hundredths. So the rules for decimals are all different, except for adding and subtracting, they're similar. But all of the rules can be found on my website. So you could print out a foldable and make that for your decimal rules.